I'm reporting back to you on this day, for we have found something that might change the way we've been researching and studying this ancient civilization. It is object number 32, found in structure 204. The structure itself is very unstable, though we were able to get everything of value out of it, fortunately before it crumbled. Obviously, the builders then were not as good as our own now. I'd like to think that they had some idea that their civilization would someday perish. However, they clearly did not prepare, for there are no codes or notes. One would think that if you knew that your society would vanish someday, you would leave something for the explorers of the future. Perhaps these beings were not as academically inclined and were more focused on having fun, though some of the artifacts are simply magnificent, and it seems it would take great brains to be able to make something so complex. Perhaps they knew their society would vanish, but they chose to ignore the fact and not accept it. This is what I have come to terms with. I'll attach its file with this report, though there isn't much recorded yet. The object itself is the color of the moon, with the small spheres implanted into the bottom of it. They are the color of the strange birds that seem to flutter around constantly. It has multiple strings attached to the bottom. It's hard to know how they made it balance, for when I put it on the table by the round part that has the strings attached to it with the rest of it in the air, it just falls over. It is covered in a strange form of cloth with hard metallic pieces attached, though they are extremely rusty. It is about 3 inches tall by 1 drop wide. I have looked for bottoms or switches, though there are none. I don't see any good use for it. It is also extremely delicate. As I was examining it, something bumped it out of my grip, and one of the tentacles on it shattered. Fortunately, we've been able to fix it. One of my colleagues believes it could be something that they used to show off clothing designs, though I think it was used in ancient ceremonies, possibly for sacrifice to the gods or goddesses, though such vulgar actions are outrageous. When we found it, the cloth it was in was tattered. However, we restored it to what it could have looked like when it was new. It has to be at least 300 years old, but possibly more. I think that the people who had possession of number 32 were most likely queens and kings. It looks like it could be similar to object number 18, for they are of similar coloring, though 18 is much heavier, for no one can lift it. We had to drag it using mobile number 146 back to the main camp. All of this new information makes me believe that this civilization is much more complex than we thought, and it is very possible that they themselves were also explorers. When we send out small groups on missions, they cover a certain area far away. They keep coming back with more and more artifacts, and they all said that there seems to be a larger civilization than we thought. I'm thinking about possibly sending a large group out to go for a longer time, though I'm not sure we have enough supplies. With each passing day, our crews and I become more and more depressed and moody. I know that all of us are waiting for the command to come home. It is so dreary here. The sky is always gray, with strange liquid droplets falling from it, and it seems that the only colors are green and gray. It seems as if we will never leave this horrid place. Often when I cannot sleep, I think of the homeland, all the bright colors and warm weather. It makes me miss it more, but it's a calming thought when one is so far away from home. We all hope we come home in time for the ceremony.